Hello and welcome to Workings of a Wishing Chair. For those who don't know, Wishing Chair Productions is the resident puppet theater at the Nashville Public Library in Nashville, Tennessee. This is a tradition that began in 1938 with Tom Tishner and his marionettes. But nearly 25 years ago, the program became Wishing Chair Productions as a nod to Tishner's work and the special chair that he built, where children would come to the library, then sit in the chair, and on their birthday, make a wish. And that is why we are called Wishing Chair Productions. Thanks for joining us. I hope you like the show.
Hi there, I'm Dr. J, and I'm a puppeteer on the puppet truck at the Nashville Public Library. Obviously, we're all doing a lot of work from home right now. I'm actually in my home office. But I thought I'd give you a look at what it's like being a performer on the puppet truck when we're out on the road. So, the first thing that we do if we're going to perform on the puppet truck is learn the show, rehearse. So, we come into the library, into a conference room, much like this one, and we learn the shows. I've actually got one of our sets behind us here. This is a set for Hansel and Gretel, one of our shows we do on the puppet truck. And as you can tell, what we have here is the big black thing is our stage, essentially. This is the stage that we take to and from all of the different schools and other places that we go with the truck. And we have a few different stages, and you think of that just like a theatrical stage. It's a blank space, a blank canvas upon which we can put our creation. So as you can see on this big black space, we've also got set pieces and props and things like that. The house and the tree of Hansel and Gretel, and some lovely scenery as well. So with these scenery things and with all of that, that is how we create the world of the show. And in the back, you can see we've got a little rack here. Hanging off of those, we've got all of our different puppets that we use in the show. So the first part of the rehearsal process is usually going to be reading the script and watching the show. Watching the show, how would we do that? Well, a lot of the time for the shows that we do on the puppet truck, they've been done already here at the downtown library in our children's theater. So we have recordings that we can use as a reference when we're rehearsing our versions of the show. So we will, read our scripts, we'll watch over these reference recordings, and then we'll come in to actually start our rehearsal process. Once we're actually here in the space, we've taken the time to do our homework, we've read our scripts, we know kind of the lines, and then we come in to work on the blocking. So we will write down all of the things that happen. When a puppet crosses from stage right to stage left, what time we bring out a new set piece or prop, all of the different traffic patterns that we need to know so that we can make sure that the show can run smoothly. After we've reviewed our blocking, it's time to get up and give it a try. So just like doing a play, we'll get up and sort of mark our blocking, walk through the show at a slower pace than we would typically do it to make sure that we get a feel for it and know where we're going and what we're doing and why. So once we get up and learn the show, we get up to show speed, we get to where we're comfortable, we can run through the show, and then we actually learn another part. So it's a little bit different than maybe if you're in a play. If I'm performing in Romeo and Juliet, maybe I'm just Romeo. I'm not Juliet or Benvolio or Mercutio. With these puppet shows, we actually get to play a lot of different characters because there's just two puppeteers typically. So it boils down to there being an A track and a B track, typically. Sometimes they're named different things, but that's what it kind of boils down to. So if we're doing a show like Puss in Boots, maybe the A track is mostly Puss in Boots, this main character who's here for a lot of the time, and then the B track is a whole bunch of the other characters who show up. The boy who's his companion, the king, the big bad ogre, all of these different characters. While the other one focuses on this one puppet, the other one is all of the different characters that come in and out of the story. And that's the basic setup of how a lot of these tracks go. You're either a main character or, you're your group of characters and there's a separate group of characters. And you can swap between the two. Either you're the A track or the B track. And maybe you change which one you do depending on the day. But for the puppet truck, we typically learn both of those. And with that, you might have the question of, now wait a second. If you're these characters this day and these characters a different way, what do you do about the voices? What about all these characters? Do you just remember all of those lines? Well, all of our shows are actually on an iPod. These little guys, ancient technology here. We've got all of our tracks for the shows and pre-show music and all of that right here on these little guys, which we plug into our speaker systems and then play, so that the show is the same every time as far as the timing, the music, the voices, all of that. And so what's live is the puppets. So this right here is a big key to our success. We are now down in puppet storage here at the library on the basement level. And why are we here, you may ask? Well, that is because this is where we keep, obviously, all the puppets, but also because it's where we specifically keep the sets and puppets that are getting ready to go out on the road. So a lot of those times, the same sets like the one you saw upstairs are kept down here, ready to go and be put on the truck. Right actually about where this lovely Dr. Seuss head is. So we'll have the puppets and the stages and everything ready to go here, and we can wheel them right out and take them out to the truck. And where else would that truck be but the loading dock? This is where we keep the puppet truck, the titular puppet truck, and we bring it in to load in the sets, and we head out to the schools and other places, and then we bring it right on back. We unload right on the dock right over here and take the puppets and the sets back to storage. You know, it makes me feel kind of like that. The puppet truck is a box truck, much like this one here, but it doesn't have this kit, and I do love this kit. Once we arrive at our location, typically we'll check in at an office and then head to a library or an auditorium like this one to set up. This is actually our auditorium at the library, and we're set up for an online performance of Lorraine, the girl who sang the storm away. Once our stage is set, it's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to meet the puppets. You didn't think I was gonna let the Henson Company come after me, did you? With that, we perform the shows. Typically, afterwards, we'll do a demonstration with some of the puppets in the show, as well as a question and answer segment where we'll answer questions about the story, or about the puppets that we use, or about what we do here at the library. It's really a joy to be able to share these stories with all different types of audiences, from ages 1 to 100. We really do enjoy getting to go out to the community, share these stories, share puppetry, and get to, include everyone in that joy and the magic of puppetry. But with that, that's what it's like to perform on the puppet truck.
Hi friends, I'm going to take you along with me as I go onto the puppet truck today. I just got ready, woke up, took a shower, got ready. I've got my dark clothes on so that when we perform, the people seeing us don't see us. They're focused on the puppets. I have my tag so I can get into the library. I have my backpack. I have my hoodie. I've got snacks, drinks, so that we are ready throughout the day. Hi, it's super bright out here, but we are on our way to the library where we're gonna hop on the puppet truck and go. Hi friends, we are here in the theater with the puppet show here. I'm alone, that's why I can take my mask off. Mask, very important. But we drop off my backpack and we've got everything here. Now I'm gonna put a laptop here, right here, because we're not doing live shows. All of these seats in the theater are just there for show right now because it's not being used. But we're putting the laptop here and we're gonna do a show here. It's called Lorraine, the Girl Who Sang the Storm Away. I'm gonna do this show today. So, I am here, I'm getting ready, and hopefully, it all goes well. It always does, it's fine. But look, I wanna show you guys some stuff. Look, we've got puppets back here. We've got Papaw here. We've got Lorraine. And then we've got Papaw's other puppet. He's got a harmonica, or a French harp, in his hands. This one doesn't. And then we've got the second Lorraine, and she has a penny whistle in her hands. And when you pull this string, it brings the penny whistle up to her mouth. It's really neat. The show went very well. They asked about the set, how it opened up, the house, all of the stuff inside of the house, how the tree, spoiler alert, falls during the show and how that happened. And I answered everything. And yeah, this is just a little snippet of what it takes to be a puppeteer with the Nashville Public Library, Wishing Chair Productions, and the Puppet Truck.
Working as a puppeteer on the Puppet Truck is rewarding in so many different ways. You've got all these different things that you do, building sets and puppets and traveling around on the truck and performing shows, doing repairs. But one of my favorite parts is getting to see and experience the positive impact that we have on our audience. There are two personal experiences that stand out the most when I think of working on the Puppet Truck and seeing the effect that our shows can have on people. The first is last year, my coworker Will and I were doing a performance of Lorraine at a daycare near the library. And we set up and we did our normal show with the puppet demonstration and a Q&A at the end. And afterwards, as we were breaking down the set, a teacher approached us and told us that her class had been doing a puppet study, kind of preparing for and centered around the puppet truck coming to their location. So she asked if we had a minute, if we wouldn't mind coming by her classroom. And the kids could not have possibly been more excited when Will and I walked through that door. They showed us their hand puppets they'd made, and we got to validate their work and explain that those were indeed puppets. And even if they were in a simpler form than what we use for our shows, you've got to start somewhere. And we got to encourage them and let them know that that's exactly where you start. And also being able to give them resources like the library if they want to further their venture into puppetry. I'd like to think that one of those kids will grow up to be a future Jim Henson, or at least a puppeteer or someone in the arts. The next instance that comes to mind was from a couple of weeks ago, and I was hosting a Zoom session, once again presenting Lorraine, and the main difference we've been doing since we've been doing things virtually is that we share a video of the show with the locations and then still do our introductions and explanations about the puppets and the library and all that good stuff. But during the actual video, we kind of get to sit back and watch the kids react to the show. And if you're familiar with Lorraine, you know that it has some great music. And I always encourage the children to dance along, if they're feeling it. And so I'm sitting there and I have about 4 or 5 different classrooms on my Zoom, and they're all watching the show, and I look up and every single one of them, the kids are just clapping along and feeling the music, and you can tell that they're really interested in what they're seeing and having the best time. And it made me think that even in these uncertain times when a lot of us are feeling unsure, we can still come together as a community. And no matter if we're traveling around on the puppet truck doing shows or joining each other virtually, we're still able to impact and connect with our audiences in a truly beautiful way. Now, I know that these are only 2 examples, but I'm sure every single one of my coworkers can tell you dozens of stories like these, and how working on the puppet truck has positively affected them and their audiences.
Hello viewers, I hope that everybody is well and safe. I would like to say thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. All right. My name is Mr. Will. I work for the Nashville Public Library's Wishing Chair Productions, and I'm also a member of the Puppet Truck. And in this particular video, I kind of want to give everybody a glimpse of something that commonly happens to all of the puppeteers when we're out on the road performing in all of the different locations. Do the strings get tangled up on the puppets? The short answer to that question is yes. The strings definitely get tangled up. Now, just imagine that as a puppeteer, we're just going along, doing our shows, working the puppets, everything is going A-okay, you're loving the show, but then you have to swap it out for another puppet. You take the puppet off the stage, you reach around, and then you have to hang it up really quickly. But what if this happens? Now, the first thing that you're going to want to do is panic. I'm just playing. The first thing you want to do is you just relax. My boss always tells me, just breathe. When anything bad happens, just breathe, figure it out. And it's very sound advice when you have a puppet that's on the floor tangled all the way up. So, I'm going to go down here. I'm going to pick up this control bar here. I'm going to lift Puss on up off the ground, see if there's any tangles. Fortunately, there were no tangles. So I had Puss fall one more time to see if I can untangle him, if it gets a little bit worse. And this time it did. And this is actually happening in the show when the strings look just like this and the puppet looks like this. Now, if you don't have enough time, what we'll do is we'll bring the puppet out there and then we'll have to maneuver those strings the best we can. But in this tutorial or this demonstration, I'm gonna go ahead and untangle them really quickly. I'm gonna do a quick time lapse, see how long it's gonna take me to do this. I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, Mr. Will, that was the best time-lapse video I've ever seen. No, I'm just playing. I know the time-lapse video wasn't that great, but it was there just to demonstrate that sometimes when you drop a puppet and you pick it back up, there might be one string tangled up, there might be all of the strings tangled up, and you have to sit there for a minute and try to figure it out. It's like a puzzle sometimes, but it can be done. Well, I'd like to say thank you all so much for tuning into this video brought to you by the Nashville Public Library's Wishing Chair Productions and the Puppet Truck. I hope that you were able to take something away from this video. I hope that it inspires you all to become marionette puppeteers or just a puppeteer in general. But thank you all so much. Remember, stay safe out there. We'll see you all soon. Take care.